Go ahead, punk. Make me play.
This is Bumping Into That Sound.
Welcome to Bumping Into That Sound, the rock-centric music and tone podcast where we dive deep into the riffs, rhythms and stories behind your favourite artists, tracks and instruments. My name is Francis and I'm your host. Whether you're a classic rock enthusiast or just discovering the magic of it for the first time, we've got you covered. Each episode, we explore the story behind the sounds, the people and the equipment. Today on the show, we're talking with Thomas Welladsen of Voltage Cable Co., the world-famous coily cable company that offers a lifetime warranty on all their handmade guitar products. Those listeners that came across from the original Bumping Into podcast might recall a few years ago, I spoke to Thomas after I had purchased one of their cables. Well, in his pursuit of offering the most durable guitar cables in the world, Thomas has secured the world first patent on the treatment to an audio cable. His ISO coat is a Hermetic seal that offers unrivaled durability, and now he's got the world first patent to secure it. This is the inside story, not only about what the patent means, but it offers a deep insight into the process and challenges of dealing with world patents and trademarks. As always, you can find out more about this podcast by visiting the bumpingintothatsound.com.au website and click on the show notes. Okay, let's get straight into the conversation.
Long time no speak, man.
It has been a while, hasn't it? Jeez, it goes quick.
Yeah, it goes very quick, mate. Very quick. It's yeah, it's been insanely fast and so busy.
Did you want to jump straight in and I guess talk about what you guys have achieved, what the news is, based on the patent?
Yeah, I suppose I wanted to just catch up because I know you were the first I don't like journalist style media we did for this.
Okay. Yeah.
So I thought it would be good to have a chat anyway, man.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate
you know
the
what
thought.
I mean?
I'm curious to learn about I suppose the ins and outs of what you had to do, to get it and what it means for you guys. And then obviously any new products that you got coming, because I know that last time we spoke, you were loosely looking at straight chords, straight leads as well.
Yeah, that's right. We're still looking at it, and we're trying to do it. I think I was about to put a bunch of resources into that more so. Excuse me, but yeah, this thing kind of got accepted back in March, and then it was like 3 months of kind of, I don't know, waiting, I suppose, because there's an objection period in Australia for that.
Right. Okay.
So we kind of waited for that, and I put the straight cables on the back burner, man.
Yeah.
So I think like that is still very challenging, Francis. Like, mate, we essentially have been told we have to create our own standards for Australia. So
Oh, wow. So you're laying the groundwork, the whole foundation.
yeah, man. So I guess I guess we could go into stuff like that, man, and just jump in like. And you would know this from having your own companies and stuff. You do have to kind of look after your trademark and defend it if someone's trying to use it or comes close to it. That's I suppose that's the whole point of why you get a trademark or a patent.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Because that is, well, my understanding has always been that that's the ultimate. That's the end. That's as much as you can do. You can argue about a company name and a business name and a website, but a trademark is virtually, you've made every intentional effort to secure that as your own.
Yeah, that's right. And trademarks, like, they last forever. Patents run out in 20 years. Trademarks last, look at Coca-Cola, for instance.
Yeah.
For a really long time. So brand is like massive too, Technology is massive and innovation, but brand is also massive. So you got to defend it. You got to defend it. I don't think we've ever run into anything. I think our branding's quite unique anyway for Voltage. And I'm pretty creative with how I position it too. So, but you still have to watch it, and the problem is that defending trademarks costs money, lawyers.
Yeah, that's the other problem, isn't it? Like
lawyers love sending letters, mate.
Yeah.
But you need lawyers, and I work with a lot of really talented, creative lawyers, and you've got a lot of good people behind me. But you need them at the end of the day, especially when you're running a company. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah, well, and for yourself too, because you're dealing in a lot of you're selling a product to overseas, you're selling it to suppliers. You've got a lot of chains that need
greasing.
management. Yeah.
Yeah, like dude, it's I think I say this to a lot of my friends, and even some of the retailers I deal with. Like, I think I'm relieved when I go into a shop because I'm not dealing with IP stuff, or I'm not like dealing with like international brand positioning and stuff like that. Like, I really enjoy that stuff, but most of my time is doing a lot of like IP stuff. For instance, we're working in China now and have a distributor there, and he sent me an email saying, you need to register, or you need to get that happening, and we definitely have, because China works in a bit of a different way to IP, and I think, from what I've heard, allegedly the government can be very nice IP wise, or they can be not very nice depending on the political climate. So
Oh, right.
it's an interesting jurisdiction to navigate in, mate, as a company, and especially being a small company like us. Like, funds are limited, and we're limited to an extent
Yeah.
of allocation wise. And it's like, you know, I never really thought our products would go well in China, but they are. It's there's a market there, mate. So we got to look at an IP strategy there.
Well, that's
Um,
interesting. So there's obviously a big guitar player market,
yeah, yeah. Like
which I'd never realized.
yeah, I know, man. Like a few brands that we deal with do work in China, like J Rocket works in China. A few other pedal brands we and friends we know of work in China, but I think this Trump thing lit it on fire. I think Australia and Canada are in the middle of this, and if you make music products, it's you know the tariffs kind of are in our favor,
Right. Yep.
because it was so crazy. I think they were hit with like 150% or something. I don't even know what it's at now, and I don't want to get into politics, but like, you know,
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
tough one.
from a business perspective, I think it's boosted if there was buying from the Chinese market into America, I think they've looked elsewhere, and um, our cable sales have definitely um, lifted a bit in that area. So
Oh,
we've got to look
geez.
at some IP, for instance, for China.
Yeah, well, that's right. If that's where you're selling and you've got a brand there, you're going to have to protect it because it won't take long for someone to pop up.
Yeah, I think they're a first to file over there. In America, used to be a first to file state, and that was becoming quite problematic. So I think they moved to first to use, or first like commercial use, kind of like Australia. So if you can prove it, that you've had commercial intent and it's been on the market, you will have priority rights to that.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I actually, funny story. It's with IP too. I actually bought some UGG boots the other day, and from the Blue Mountains, and I got chatting to the staff up there and the lady about the UGG boot trademark situation and how they can't export anything that says UGG on it anymore. So I think a few years ago, um, an American company, I think the trademark was lapsed for a year or something. I think that's what she was saying, and then this company in America was watching it, and they just bought it. They bought the rights. Um,
Oh, they
and
snuck in.
I think it was a first to file law back then. I think, like, don't quote me on that. And I think that's how they got it through. Um, and then they've just blocked their exports to America. Um, so they now have to call them Blue Mountains boots or something like that. But
Wow.
it's so interesting, hey, like how powerful federal law is with branding, and it can go both ways. Like, it can be really protected if you're honest and have a lot of integrity like that. But if someone's gonna buy up your brand, it can be quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Kind of like domain hopping, or domain holding and all that. But Yeah,
Ah.
it's a crazy world, mate. Like we're dealing not with just trademarks, we're dealing with patents too. And that is a crazy world, mate. Like it just takes up so much, yeah, heavy thought processing and stuff about strategy and um yeah, positioning your products and how you're going to use it. And I've learned so much. I should become a lawyer or an attorney, mate. Christ, like, but it's I'm looking forward, Francis, to getting getting the patents in and out of the way, and we've just had a really big win with Australia. So I think I think we're definitely coming to a place where I can start flying to the States and flying to Europe and setting up some business in person now that we have a patent-backed innovation that I can
Wow.
run with. But there's a few things we've got to sort out in the US, and we definitely want to get the US done because that's the biggest market for us, and I think for music in general.
So, explain to me the patent that you got is related to the treatment that you guys do to the cable.
Yeah, so the patent we got is a standard Australian patent, and it's our method of hermetically sealing audio cables when you're essentially soldering audio cables together and using them for audio applications. So we have that patent, which is a bunch of claims, and they're quite broad and strong, which is really good. But essentially, we branded it ISO which is kind of how we're branding the method and the standard patent. So it has a name for marketing stuff. But we we are the first company in the world to hermetically seal um, audio cables and prevent them from failing. And it's a pretty interesting and big thing, I think. I think it wasn't big when we got the grant on the 26th of June, but now it's kind of sunk in a bit because a few people have reached out to me in the industry that are in the military industry and stuff like that. And they've said, mate, you're essentially taking the industry a step forward. So I think it's sinking in that we're the ones kind of pioneering in our small niche, audio cable longevity. So
Yeah. So,
um,
out of all the international big cable manufacturers in America that, all
never
the
done it,
guitar
man.
leads, no one's
No,
going to the lengths to do that.
no, never done it. And I think it's our Aussie way of thinking to some extent, like let's build this thing like a brick shit house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like yeah, it's no one, no one has actually really looked at this, done the research and development, tested it, and actually gone, let's stop bad joints, let's stop corrosion, let's stop brittle um, tone loss over the years. Let's actually build a cable that lasts, you know, for the lack of a better term, a lifetime. And I think part of getting a patent is like it being useful, right? That's the way I was kind of explained it is the government and government bodies in each jurisdiction looks at it and goes, is this useful? And when you really look at the amount of cables that, you know, go bad and die and that industry and how it's fueled from repeat sales, it's no wonder that um, no one's really wanted to make one that lasts for a long time because they want to make a profit and keep selling
Keep
these
selling
things.
them.
So that's kind of how Pete and I make of it. Um, but we have we conducted international searches and those guys, we went through a bunch of examiners here in Australia and we got it, man. So we must be the first one. Like I think if we have a patent, I think we are. So it's kind of nuts to
Wow.
be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously, it's great for you, especially in terms of bragging rights when because your products are on the shelf in America.
That's right. Yeah, we've
So
already commercialized it. You know,
yeah.
I think we commercialized it when it was pending, and that was part of it. Let's put it in the market and sell it, um, and get it out there. And the response has been good. But yeah, we're already commercializing this thing, and sorry, commercializing this thing, and it's a good sign. You know, I didn't want to sit on the sidelines and, hide it or whatever. I think the good thing is to get it out there and see what people think of it.
So
Um,
does it open the door then to that style, that process you're doing, the treatment of the cables, to then you can apply that to speaker cables, to XLR cables, to, it can be applied to anything.
yeah, so um, I like to think outside the box a bit, and we we have a few we have 20 claims in the patent, and it's all public stuff. People can go look at it now. Um, and we have it for audio cables in general. And I believe there may be um, a segue in the future to branch that out into different types of cabling in different industries as well. But
Yeah.
we have it for audio cables and any kind of audio cable. If there's conductors being joined to a connector, we own the rights to that. To
Because
hermetically
even the
seal it.
hi-fi guys, I mean, surely they would
Yeah,
jump on and want,
man, hi-fi is
yeah,
something we haven't looked at, but we will. It's
because they can be quite fastidious and particular.
very, and
Yeah.
I think those guys, the audiophile gang, which we all love. I kind of grew up with my brother being like really in love with hi-fi stuff, and still is actually. Um, those guys really love like high fidelity. It's all about sound. I think for those guys, and
Yeah.
maybe it's about durability. Um, but Francis, they're not touring with these things. Like we kind of put a durability mindset first of you know, for instance, I got sent a photo this morning of Youngblood, that massive band and group in the UK that displayed the Black Sabbath um, concert
Oh,
thing, and
yep.
they were using our coilies on stage,
Oh,
and
wow.
our like Pete and I's like first thought is are these things going to break live? They need to work on stage. They need to work when they're going in and out of planes and stuff. So
Yep.
touring and durability is definitely our the forefront of what we're doing. But I don't know. I think if we released a hi-fi product per se, like a speaker lead, um, the durability aspect is always going to be a seller, I think, in any industry. So why wouldn't you want a more durable cable?
100%. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
kind of makes sense to us. But we will be
yeah.
doing mic leads, speaker leads, straight guitar cables. Um, yeah, sorry to cut you off, Francis.
No, no, well, because it makes perfect sense for you to jump into that space. And especially when your products is I suppose has a reputation for being a lifetime product. So it attracts the
That's right.
person that wants one and done or a handful and done, not
That's
oh,
right.
I'll throw this away and get the next one, throw that away. It's yeah,
That's
like
right.
people treat a Les Paul or a favorite amp, they have no intention of moving it on. It becomes part of the signal chain for them.
That's exactly right. Like yeah, the small but crucial link. It's a cable matters to electric guitar players. I know
Yeah.
that wireless is cool and stuff. Like for instance, Adam from Youngblood was like, dude, we finally played like some intimate shows and I could actually use cables because we weren't playing like 100-foot stages. And it's like, yeah, dude, that's great. Like, and I'm stoked to be first choice. It's such a flattering thing and I'm very honored for that. But yeah, I think like um I think cables are important. And I think as a musician and just as a human existing, I think buying things that last is important. I've always been of that, cut from that cloth of, owning vintage cars and
Yep.
those things keep going. Buying quality things has always been like the way I kind of move around in the world, if I'm going to buy some material things, I think it's important. And that's not even going into like the environmental stuff that happens with wastage. And,
Yeah.
Francis, like, I don't know if you've ever developed a product, but there's so much wastage just in packaging, in stickers, I don't even know, like
Yep.
prototyping, like, so there's so much wastage just in that alone.
It's
Um,
scary when you look at what gets thrown out, even sometimes just because it's not convenient to reuse.
that's right. That's right. Like it's kind of nuts, mate. Like I I think a big thing that I hate in our industry, and I suppose you could call every electronics or accessories based thing, this is that clamshell packaging,
Yep.
like that really thick plastic that you can't even open with bloody scissors. Like that stuff is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
horrid,
You gotta
man.
tear across the top and cut down the sides and
Oh,
wrestle
dude,
with it.
it's a
Yeah,
shit fight. Like
yeah. It's terrible packaging,
a
that.
lot of guitar cable companies do that, and like I think it's easier for them. I think some of these guys just put them in plastic bags and all this kind of stuff. And, the next line we do will be obviously recyclable and minimal as we can. But I think packaging's only a small part of it. I think, our one of our beliefs is why would you buy three cables over, 3 years or 5 years or something and just keep doing that if they just break because you treat them, if you tour with them, or why not buy one that lasts you, yeah, forever essentially.
Yeah,
And that gives you a really good chance of it lasting forever, apart from, if you drop a ride symbol on it and cut it in half, you're going to have a problem. But do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, yep.
it's like why, this accessory gets um lost and stolen, and they fail as so often. Um, and it's such a common thing for guitarists to like have dead cables, and we kind of want to stop that. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Well, that's perfect, and especially once you make like the little patch leads, for pedal boards, and
yeah,
when
man.
someone knows they've got that product from the start to the finish, that there's no weak link.
That's right. That's right. And we even extended. I was going to say this before, but we segued off. We actually have a few other areas that we cover with this patent as well. So we cover guitar wiring, and we cover electrical circuits as well, some
Oh,
electrical
wow.
circuits. So there's a lot of room to branch it out. Guitar wiring does corrode, especially where the output socket is. Um, so there's definitely room for this thing to expand into other realms of electronics. So it's going to be quite interesting, mate.
The process, the challenges that you had. So
Yeah,
from you've got the product, you know what you want to do with it. You engage an IP lawyer, I'm guessing. Um,
yeah, yep,
and then they and pull me up if I'm wrong. I'm only using what I suppose would be relative into the trademark world, which I've had a little tiny bit of experience with. Is then that you've got to explain what it is that you're doing and draw any pictures and
yeah.
then
Show them, and
yep.
we had it was an interesting journey. I think from the beginning, you know, I think the big question is, do we have something? And then you nut it out and look at it for what it is at that time, and then I did have contact with a really really um, amazing patent attorney, Renelle, and I had an idea a few years ago, and I made contact with her, and the idea was quite intense, and I still want to pursue it at some point. But Renelle told me essentially you need a prototype, and um, then we can look at it deeper. And I was so green about patents back then. That's probably 3 or 4 years ago now. Anyway, fast forward to when Pete and I started working on this, we had a prototype. So I called Renelle up and um, we had a chat, and given that a guitar cable isn't insanely complex. It was a few back and forths learning about like what qualifies as a patent, for
Yeah.
instance, like really bare bone stuff. Like I wanted to know everything, and I think as a as a founder, you kind of have to really know what you're getting into. And Renell was so amazing to deal with and explain everything. And yeah, has such a wealth of knowledge on patents and electronics. And yeah, she was very, very helpful to us. So that was the first part of it. And then we looked at it, did some patent searches, and then filed the provisional patent application to kind of lock it in. So um, I think, to answer your question, the first challenge was understanding patents, like just getting your head around that, and what is patentable and what is novel and non-obvious. It's that was a challenge in its own right, just to understand if we have something. So, and then as the application progresses, obviously costs are very high, and I think a lot of the energy, Francis, is like strategy, right? Like, one, do you have something? And we obviously knew we did. And the next thing is, okay, well, where do you file? How
Yeah.
do you file? Like the guidance there that Ronell gave us was just amazing. So, I think I'm quite an ambitious person, and I'm not just going to file in Australia. We filed internationally. So, because I knew if we launch this thing and it catches on, there's going to be people trying to rip it off or have a go at it. So protecting it
100%.
everywhere we could would be a good idea.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge in its own right, just understanding that, and the strategy part of it as well.
Is there any crossover at all? Like everything that you've written and done and for Australia that you can then say
Of
to
course, yeah,
oh
yeah, of
right, so you
course,
can then say here's everything that they wanted, and wait for them to come back and say, oh, we actually need this written upside down or whatever. But
yeah. I
yeah,
think I think for non-Western countries, it might be a bit different, like Japan and China.
yeah,
There was obviously a language barrier as well. Um,
yeah, that would be a
like there's a,
challenge.
there's a big difference there, just in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think if you have so we filed a PCT, an international placeholder application, and it cost a lot more money, but I kind of made that decision to go, okay, we're gonna put our stake in the ground internationally, as a placeholder, um, if and when this gets granted, and obviously we'll pursue grant in Australia first, and then um, we'll pursue other jurisdictions. So
Yeah.
it gave us some leverage internationally, and I think as a small business, Francis, like you have to see, like, does this thing have legs? Like,
Yeah, and
like
you would
I'm
have
not
gone
going to
through the
spend
self-doubt.
50K. Yeah, like
Yeah.
why am I going to drop 50K on this damn thing if people just, don't want it? But
Yep.
and that's the intrigue for me as well. Like it was quite intriguing to go, okay, let's create this thing and kind of build a new product and new innovation in the industry and then see if it sells. Like,
Yeah.
I suppose I'm a gambler like that, or I'm quite risk averse, but I kind of enjoy that. And I suppose that's why I'm in business too, but I kind of
Yeah.
enjoy that side of it, Francis.
Well, that's really, I mean, you've got to have that risk taker, well, calculated risk taker approach.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got to be able, I suppose, go in fearless once you know you've done your research,
That's right,
as
man.
opposed to just shooting up in the air and hoping to hit a target.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it, I think there were times where, um, I'll just say this: patents aren't easy to get, especially a standard patent. So I wanted to say that there's design patents in
Okay.
Australia and the world, and then there's like a standard patent, and a standard patent is um, It's not based on looks, if that makes sense. It's like a method based
Right.
um,
Okay.
patent, which is a lot harder to get, and it gets a lot more scrutiny. Um, and there were times where, these examiners are like, very smart people. They're obviously, yeah, they're IP examiners. Most of them are engineers, have degrees in law and IP and stuff. So you're contesting with these people that your invention is novel and worth it. And the other side of it is they might not even know how a guitar cable works. So their decision could be um,
Based on a
hindered.
non-understanding.
That's right. And mostly that's what we came up against.
Oh,
Is
right.
some form of non-understanding, like, uh, wording that these examiners could actually understand. And then once that happens, I remember there was a time, I think it was February, or it was the start of this year, and we had a decision to go back to a few examiners, and we went back, and then we got the notice of acceptance 2 weeks later. So whatever we said actually made sense to them about what was being done here, and then it was
Okay.
instant. So, but those challenges as well. So depending how complex your invention is, it's yeah, it, they're not easy to get, Francis. So I think if anyone's listening to this and they want to get into IP, definitely seek out a really good attorney first. You know, that's and someone you can trust, and understand what you're getting yourself into, I suppose.
Well, so once that was the major hurdle, was just, I suppose, the navigating and explaining what it is that you're doing. And once you were over that, it wasn't too
Yeah.
bad.
Um, no, I think a hurdle is, I'll just say this, like, so 8% of the patents in Australia are owned by Australians. That's kind of what the stats I have. And then
Wow.
90% of the patents, the other 90% or 92% are owned by foreign companies and nationals. So I think just being an Australian in general is hard to get a patent here because you're competing with, you know,
Yeah.
everyone. And competing in the sense of like cash flow and resources, like Christ, yeah. And I think of that 8%, small to medium enterprise is around 2% of that. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I glossed over stats wise, from IP Australia. And, for a company like us at that stage, I'm a solo founder. And Pete and I essentially, Pete was consulting with me and working with me building the cables, but doing it on our own essentially, and doing all of our research and development, and funding it from literally all the cables we're hand making is probably the biggest challenge. Or probably was the biggest challenge because you know, you're trying to make decisions based on what your business can do. We don't have an R&D team.
Yeah.
We don't have venture capital. We had none of that. We just had the money that we're making from selling the cables.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
probably the biggest challenge, I think, was one, obviously being novel and non-obvious and inventing something useful. That challenge in it is crazy in its own right for you to even get a patent. But the other big thing we faced was just, you know, Voltage being a solo founder company and working with essentially a two-man team was pretty challenging. We did all of our own testing and stuff, and yeah, I'm just very grateful to have Pete be part of this and have Renell, our patent attorney, um, be on my side. It's I think that was the biggest challenge, Francis, of being such a small micro company in Australia.
But
So
the flip side of that that you often hear is when you have a small team,
yeah,
you all work with passion, and
that's
you
right.
all have to wear the many hats and take greater accountability, responsibility.
100%, mate.
So
Like you can
sometimes,
pivot
yeah,
too. You can
yeah,
pivot
that's
too.
right. Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you haven't sunk 100K into something and then, you know, um, the board of directors goes, no, sorry, see ya. It's
yeah,
over. You
yeah.
know,
Or
there's
you've
none of
got
that.
people making decisions that have no
No
uh,
idea.
no accountability to
That's right.
the outcome. They're just like, oh, okay, well, that's not my money. I don't care.
That's right. That's right. There's
So
a high level of care with us.
yeah, small
Definitely,
business
mate.
like I've said to a few people in other shows that I've had,
Yeah.
no one knows pressure like a small business owner.
No
They
way,
really
mate.
don't.
Yeah.
No one, and employees can't understand it, and family members that have never been in it can't understand it because
No, they have no idea.
yeah,
It's
and
insane.
it's 24 hours of if you never switch off. You've always got to be 10 steps ahead. Yep, it's all on your shoulders, all the time. It's a very unique pressure that not everyone's built for.
No, it's yeah, that you're 100% right, mate. Like that pressure is insane. Like you see cafe owners, mate, like that is another kind of pressure too, like
Mm,
hospitality pressure.
yeah,
Small cafe owners, one of my good mates, owns a cafe in my local town, and it's like, yeah, it's intense, but he's built for it, you know. Um, Shout out to Ali. He's built for it. Like I think in business, like, I've actually had chats with Ali, my mate who owns a cafe in Richmond, about what I'm doing too. And even he said, like, mate, I don't know, you're dealing with like international IP and companies that have massive, like you're dealing with all this IP stress, like trademark stress. And that's my kind of pressure, or my
yeah.
kind of intense small business stuff. It's you're essentially dealing with international law, like um, in what in building a globalized commercial product. Even it can be like a car company or as small as a guitar cable company. Like there's still that pressure there, and I think certain people are built for it. I kind of thrive on it. I kind of get pumped up and inspired by it and ambitious with it.
That's really
Um,
good that you can use that because it can also be the fear of
yeah,
failure that can put the brakes on everything.
yeah, man. 100%. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not all um, smiles and rainbows with that kind of thing. But I think at the end of the day, I'm I'm a bit relentless with the pursuit of it. I just and I think I'm that way because I enjoy it, I
Yeah,
think I
yeah,
enjoyed creating brands, and I never thought I'd end up um owning a patent. It's quite a cool thing to be part of that and actually achieve that. But I never thought I'd be doing that stuff, and I never thought that I'd be so into it as well, you know. I kind of like positioning brands through IP and creating products like our voltage vintage coils and selling them globally. It's kind of fun. I think a big part of my risk tolerance is also going through chronic health stuff and understanding that, like, we're only here for a short time, and
yeah,
at the end
yeah.
of the day, like, that's you gotta make the most of it. And I think, you know, in saying that, like, I'm in a very privileged position here in Australia, and I don't have children or anything like that, and I dare say that, like, having children and a bunch of responsibilities like that, the pressure is probably even more intense. And hats off to those men and women that go and, you know, still build businesses with those responsibilities. I'm quite privileged not to have that.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that you
you
can,
know,
your time can be spent.
pursuing it. Yeah.
That's right. You don't have to spread it thin,
Yeah.
balance it, and navigate the guilt and navigate the
Mate.
worry,
Yeah.
you can't be everything to everyone and everywhere
No.
all the time. But
Those
in
people are
your
superheroes,
position,
mate.
yeah,
Superheroes, I swear.
Australia's done. That's signed, sealed.
Signed
It's
and delivered, man.
that's it.
Yeah,
Nothing
we
else
have
to worry about.
no, we have it for 20 years.
Wow. Okay. So
So
then the US and China is is the wheels turning? You know,
of
is the
course, yeah,
paperwork?
yep,
So it's now the waiting
yeah,
game and the back and forth that you're just
back
having
and
to
forth,
wrestle with.
long game.
And how long
Yeah,
is expected to take now? What can they drag this out?
don't know, don't know. There's a
Really? So
few.
they don't even say it could be, look, we'll get back to you within 2 months. We hope to have it done.
No, no. It's just
Oh,
whenever you hear back. That's why I'm this whole past 2 weeks, mate. I got officially granted on the 26th of June, and in Australia, and for the last 2 weeks, I've been running around um, trying to trying to reassess pricing. I've built a whole new website. I'm getting marketing stuff done, like trying to organize a time to have a chat to you, and there's a few other press publications I'm trying to organize. So it's like they kind of just spring it on you, is what I'm trying to say.
wow.
And like it's like, okay, now we're here, and we got to do it. And I think this examiner might take 4 months to get back to you.
Jeez.
From my experience in the US, owning trademarks over there, I think Americans like to go back and forth a bit, depending who you get. Um, that was with trademarks anyway. So what I'm trying to say is, I think in America they'll uh,
Well, it could even be
initiate office
more.
actions just to have them initiated.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
like so. God knows what it's going to be like. Um, Stepping into the the patent process over there. But I know that my attorneys here have really good people over there, so that's a plus.
Yeah. That's
Having the
really
right
good.
people on the ground there is a big plus. But
Yeah.
yeah, the wheels are turning, mate, and we're selling. Yeah, I suppose it's picking your battles. Picking your battles is definitely the way to look at it, um, and picking where you want to pursue this, and build a company around
Yeah.
this IP moat we're trying to build. That's where you want to. So that's a challenge now. Francis is looking at, like, obviously, the USA is a market we want to be in. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Huge market. Yeah.
yeah, mate. Yeah, we do
Huge.
some business over there, so that's the place. And
What about the UK? Is that, I mean, that once upon a time, that was the hub for
the
rock
UK's, we
music.
sell a few there direct, mate, and we
Okay.
have worked with a shop there on and off called 6060 Sounds in Denmark Street in London. Um, Jan and Sam are great dudes that run that place, and Sam actually plays for Youngblood now as their guitarist, which is cool. But yeah, if you've ever been on our Instagram, those are the guys that were playing our cables on the street with, like,
Yep.
that's those guys. And
At the front of the store.
yeah, that's those
Yep.
guys. Killer
Okay.
shop, mate. I'd love to visit one day.
It does look really, really good, doesn't it? It looks like
Fucking
a
looks
time
great.
capsule, what you
Looks,
pictured the glory days
dude.
of Led Zeppelin
It's
and
so killer. Like, they get the
yeah.
marshals out and stuff.
Yeah, it looks
Tops
unbelievable.
tops dudes, man. I think the UK is a good industry. You've got Andertons, and you've got a few other big shops over there. I think that's a good market. I think that Europe in its entirety is a good market, a great market. Japan is an excellent market for guitars.
Yeah, well, they're really
Um,
big into it, aren't they?
really
Like
big, man.
they love
Really
the
big.
rock circuit, yeah.
They love it, dude. They love gear. They love high end stuff.
And what, South
We
Korea too? I think they're quite big into
Yes,
that.
yeah, they do like music. We actually sold and got approached by a gentleman in Taiwan last week who wants to do something.
Oh,
So
wow.
we may do that. I don't know yet. Um, it's there's If I had all the money in the world, I'd try and patent the thing everywhere.
Yeah, but
But
you can only do what you can
you got
do.
to pick your battles, mate. And
Yep.
I think taking the industry forward, um, being the first but last mover, if that makes sense, in the guitar cable realm, um, is a good thing. And I think picking your battles and getting the right relationships and markets on your side with the right IP is the way to go. And I think after that, brand will carry it through, you know. So it's I think getting a patent's good, getting a patent's hard, sorry, but scaling is also hard in any business, regardless of a patent, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's interesting, Francis, but their VAT is killing imports, I think.
Ah, right.
You know, in Europe too, I think they've got tax, and then they've got 15% on top of that, and
Oh,
shipping. So it's like insane.
geez, it's just the world at the moment is tax mad, isn't it? It's
Oh,
just
dude, even going after or looking at grants for being a small business is hard too. Like, and even getting accepted for grants, or like having the know with all that they're even around is hard.
yeah.
Like,
Yet
yeah,
the small business is the grand funder of everything in government.
everything. Yeah, cafes, like
Yep.
you know, restaurants.
You know,
Shit, mate, plumbers, tradies, everyone. Like that's, you
it's
know,
so frustrating. No one's
yeah,
helping the little guy. No one looks at it logically and says, "Well, look, what can we do to make it easier? What can we do to
yeah.
simplify it? Do we need to have all this red tape?"
I think I think you know, I think small business um needs a bit of help in this country, especially.
It does.
Like I just
Yep.
think, and you know, in America too, and everywhere, I think um I was definitely gun ho with my business, and I think I pushed too hard sometimes, and then I realized like, no, hang on, I need to put the brakes on here with growth. Like it's scaling is an art, and it can ruin you. You know,
Mm.
you can go too quick, or you can just ruin your resources and go broke, or whatever. Like you can run out of steam, I suppose, or energy. Um, and you know, growing organically is, I guess now that I look back at what we have done, to some extent, you know, we'll get approached by stores and, you know, whatnot. And I've got a sales consultant that will be doing some work for us in America at the moment. And he told me the term of, instead of minimum order quantity, it's maximum order quantity. So, you know, if we get a big store, we say, well, we can give you this, and that's it. You know,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's
Okay.
like, well, you're going to get 30 cables a month, or 40 a month, or 100 a month
Wow,
is the
that's
limit.
interesting approach, isn't it? So you sort of saying these are the
Yeah.
terms to which we can sell to you.
Yeah. Because we can't. We don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. Like,
That's really
these
interesting.
things are handmade. There's now a patented method to them. It's not Ernie Ball. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you want bespoke cables that last forever, like you can get 100 a month or 50 a month or whatever the hell it is, you know. And I was like, damn, that's a good way to look at this. Like,
yeah,
we're not going for the stars. Like, we're just trying to sustainably grow. And even if the store does 2 billion a year, like, we're still going to say, this is, you know,
yep,
like you're going to get what you get. It's, I thought it was a bit arrogant, but it's also like, no, it's not. It's like, well, that's actually what we might be able to do, you know?
yeah,
I think it's a good way, and refreshing to hear in business that like that's still an approach, you know?
yeah, yeah. That's a great way to do it.
So man,
Hmm.
I'm going to jump off, Francis, but
Yeah, it's been great talking. Yeah.
it's been great talking to you, man. I could probably talk to you for a week. Thank you so much, Francis. I
No, thanks,
appreciate your
mate.
time, man.
Thank you very much for checking out the show. If you did like it and have the opportunity, please do leave a 5-star review on your podcast player. It does help others find the show. If you want to find out more information about this episode, the guest, or even the other episodes that are on offer, head over to bumpingintothatsound.com.au. Find the episode page, and I always do my best to list follow-up links and details that make it easy for you to find out more. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'm looking forward to bumping into you next time.